To Frankel's barn, the word from Chile was that she was better than Lido Palace, another Chilean that Frankel had in his barn, a male that won more than $2 million in major stakes races for Frankel, and she certainly looked good in that first start in the Shoe V. This has been a good year for Chileans to root for American racing. Of course, Jose Santos, the jockey, is a native of Chile, the winner of the Derby and the Preakness with Funny Side.
Wild Spirit is 2 for 2 at this distance of 1.25 miles. Only she and Summer Colony, who's 3 for 3, have gone this distance. Number 3, Take Charge Lady, making her debut at 1.25 miles. She is a multiple group grade 1 winner here. Going to get European on us, Randy, say group 1. Multiple grade 1 winner, and Take Charge Lady, if she finishes at least 3rd, goes over the $2 million mark in earnings.
And looking at her record, there's a pretty good chance she'll finish at least 3rd. She is as steady as they come. As a 2-year-old in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, and last year as a 3-year-old in the Breeders' Cup Distaff, she was 6th in both races. You throw out the Breeders' Cup races, she's always been either 1st or 2nd. And of course, she almost beat Azere earlier this year in the Apple Blossom when she set a comfortable early pace. That's the key to her going 1.25 miles today. Watch her coming out of the gate. If Devin Rose doesn't pressure her too much early and Sellers can relax her on a lead and the fractions aren't too fast, she's got a shot to upset Wild Spirit.
Trained, of course, by Kenny McPeak. Had a great run with her last year as a 3-year-old, and Shane Sellers is back aboard. He ran aboard with her in that Apple Blossom, which turned out to be one of, if not the most spectacular races we've seen this year, neck and neck with Azere all the way down to the finish line.
And there you see a look at Shiny Sheet. This is another one of the locals here, although this was not really Delaware local. She shipped in from Maryland earlier today. She's one of the long shots in the race, to say the least, at 55 to 1 right now. But there are some other long shots we can look at as well.
Well, 4 of the last 8 winners have paid $38 or more for a $2 wager, so it's always good to take a look at a long shot in this race.
Well, we're not going to go to 55 to 1, but we will go to a horse right now who currently is on the board at 11 to 1, and that's Devin Rose, who you see there winning impressively in her last start here at Delaware in the slot in a race called the Obeah Handicap. In recent years, the locals based here at Delaware Park have done very well in the Del Cap. As a matter of fact, a couple of them have won just last year. A filly called You're Out took Summer Colony to the limit, losing a photos finish after winning the Obeah.
And Ramon Dominguez aboard Devin Rose. He's had a nice afternoon.
Yes, he has, looking for his 3rd stakes win. His first 2 were on the turf, and there is Ramon. And there is a look at how some of the locals have done in this race. I mentioned You're Out last year, made that huge move at the top of the stretch and was just nit by Summer Colony. $135 exacta the locals provided in 2001. And look at 1998, 2nd and 3rd at huge odds, and Power Play won this race after winning the Obeah at 27 to 1 odds, and that was 6 years ago.
Devin Rose would certainly seem to have the best shot at doing this today if someone is to upset now Wild Spirit, who has become the odds-on favorite. And there's Mandy's Gold, over $1 million in her career, coming off a 3rd in the Ogden Fib. She is at 13 to 1, certainly knows this track well. She's based here. They send her out to run at other tracks.
She's been beaten this year twice pretty convincingly by Take Charge Lady. She finished 3rd in both those races in which Take Charge Lady was 2nd. The big concern about Mandy's Gold today is the 1.25 miles. She's by a sprinter in Gilded Time, and her very best races have been 1 turn Belmont Park at distances a little shorter than 1.25 miles. This is 2 turns, 1.25 miles, but she is such a courageous game horse. She's won almost half her lifetime starts, so you certainly can't completely dismiss her in here. Right now she's 13 to 1.
In many ways, this is a not necessarily make or break, Randy, but can they still do it? Is Take Charge Lady ready? Is Mandy's Gold ready? Is Summer Colony in her earlier 3rd race this year ready? Because all the attention's going to number 2 as we take a look at the current odds. Wild Spirit, as Randy predicted, would be the favorite, but at 4 to 5 now. The odds-on favorite, Summer Colony at 2.5 to 1. Number 8 there, the defending champ. Take Charge Lady is now at 4 to 1, and Mandy's Gold is at 13 to 1. Devin Rose, the local girl, at 11 to 1.
Last year when Summer Colony came in here to the Del Cap, she was coming off a series of huge races, and this year they're kind of taking their time gearing her up. And speaking of huge, there's a guy who's having an unbelievable year, but you couldn't tell it by looking at him ever. He's the quintessential poker face before and after he wins.
I think what's interesting is the fact that he's actually sitting in the stands and watching the race. You don't see him there too many times. He's usually kind of around the paddock over looking at a TV set somewhere, but Bobby's in the stands taking a look at Wild Spirit with Jerry Bailey again aboard, and Bailey's having again another record year in the last 3-4 years of Bailey, almost rivaling that of trainer Bobby Frankel, what each have done in the sport of horse racing.
Bailey's in a pretty good position right now. He's riding the best horses for Bobby Frankel and most of the best horses for Bob Baffert, you know, the two big names right now in thoroughbred racing. Of Frankel's 13 Grade 1 wins that we saw in the graphic a little earlier, Bailey has been aboard 8 of those, including, of course, Empire Maker, the best known nationally of Frankel's horses right now.
Well, Jeremiah's reign there, number 4, was 3rd in the Summer King over this strip, has won the Newcastle. Only 3 horses, French Hideaway, Wild Spirit, and Take Charge Lady, have never raced over this surface. Summer Colony's going in. Time for the call of the race. Let's go to John Curran and see if Summer Colony can defend.
And they're off in the 66th running of the Delaware Handicap. It's a pretty good start for them all. In between horses, Mandy's Gold, Take Charge Lady toward the inside. Devin Rose up on the outside as they come off that chute. Let's see who wants that lead as they come toward the finish line the first time. And surprisingly, it's Mandy's Gold by a head. Take Charge Lady with the rail. Devin Rose is being reserved in the early going. Wild Spirit tucked in behind them, racing in 4th. Followed by Shiny Sheet, Jeremiah Rain, Summer Colony, and French Hideaway, the trailer. Opening quarter in 24-2. It's not that fast a tempo for this group as they race into the first turn. Take Charge Lady leads it by 3 parts of a length, with Mandy's Gold racing second. Up on the outside, Devin Rose. Wild Spirit in a good spot behind horses in 4th, saving ground nicely. Then Jeremiah Rain and Shiny Sheet. Summer Colony has 1 beat, and that's Long Shot French Hideaway as they race around the clubhouse turn and reach the backstretch. And it's still Take Charge Lady. The half goes in 49-2. This is well for Take Charge Lady on the front end. She leads it by 3 parts over Mandy's Gold. Up on the outside, Devin Rose. Wild Spirit still in a good spot. Now she's moving up toward the inside, going after Take Charge Lady. Take Charge Lady by half a length. In between horses, Wild Spirit as Bailey asks for some run in the early going. Mandy's Gold now back to 3rd, followed by Jeremiah Rain, Devin Rose. Next in line, that Shiny Sheet. Summer Colony has to get going, and the trailer is French Hideaway. The 6 in 13-4. Take Charge Lady leads them into the turn by 3 parts, and Wild Spirit is positioned perfectly alongside 2nd, followed by Devin Rose, who's trying to kick in 3rd. 2 lengths further back to on the inside, trying to rally Shiny Sheet. They've got a quarter mile to go in the Del Cap, and Take Charge Lady trying to fend off Wild Spirit. Devin Rose is racing 3rd, followed by Shiny Sheet as they head for home, and Bailey lets loose on Wild Spirit, and the filly from Chile responds. She opens up 2 lengths on Take Charge Lady, followed by Devin Rose, Shiny Sheet, and Mandy's Gold, but another star maybe in the making. It's Wild Spirit. Bailey and Frankel teaming up again. She romps in the Del Cap, wins it by 5. Take Charge Lady 2nd, Shiny Sheet 3rd, Devin Rose 4th.
Wild Spirit with a star-making performance here in the Delaware Handicap. Jerry Bailey said, let's go, and it was who would be 2nd after that.
Wow, you've already got, of course, Azeri at the top of the Distaff division, but she will not have it easy this year if Frankel's fillies continue to the Breeders' Cup Distaff in a healthy fashion. You've got Sightseek, who ran away with the Ogden Phipps, and now Wild Spirit, a devastating victory here in the Del Cap. And Jerry Bailey, what a ride. Late on the backstretch, he saw the pace. He recognized how slow they were going, and when a little gap opened between Take Charge Lady and Mandy's Gold, and Bailey saw just a little hint of daylight, he went for it, aggressively went for it, shot Wild Spirit up alongside Take Charge Lady, kept the pressure on her, knowing that that was the only horse that could beat him, and the only way she could do it was an easy early lead.
Sellers got out there in that 49-2, didn't he, at the half with Take Charge Lady, and Bailey started getting in gear. It is Wild Spirit with a spectacular win here in the Delaware Handicap. We'll hear from the winners when we come back. Bobby Frankel knows how to pick his spots. This was only his 2nd time at the Delaware Handicap. He came here in 1999 with Keeper Hill and finished 2nd. He comes back with Wild Spirit, who puts on a dominant performance today to win the Del Cap easily. Jockey Jerry Bailey picking up his 2nd Del Cap win 23 years ago. He was aboard Heavenly Aid back in 1980.
I referenced the Breeders' Cup Distaff as a possible race to look forward to for Wild Spirit, but there is an asterisk there. Remember, she comes from Chile, just like Lido Palace did. And just like Lido Palace, she is not a Breeders' Cup nominated horse, which means that the owners, the Sumaya Us stables, would have to put up $400,000 to get her into that $2 million Breeders' Cup race.
Given her performance in the Chuvie and her U.S. debut, and now this performance over this Delaware strip to date, Randy, maybe they'll start thinking that way and adding up some of that purse money to supplement her into the Breeders' Cup.
And we mentioned Bailey's ride on the backstretch, about mid-backstretch, as you see Frankel getting rid of some of that cotton mouth that he develops during the runnings of the race. This is now midway in front. That's Take Charge Lady. To her outside in blue is Mandy's Gold. And look at Frankel. And look at Jerry Bailey on Frankel's horse there, Wild Spirit.
They're hard to tell apart sometimes, you know.
Seeing that gap and recognizing, as a jockey like Jerry Bailey does, how slow Take Charge Lady is going in front. And see, Take Charge Lady responds, and they kind of open up a little bit on the field as they spurt clear. But it was that move. Of course, he was on the best horse.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that he was on the best horse.
But he's not going to let him stay out there 49-2 after that half.
Exactly. He's going to give Wild Spirit every chance in the world to run down a horse like Take Charge Lady. Because keep in mind, when Take Charge Lady made a lead similar to that at Oaklawn Park earlier this year in the Apple Blossom Handicap, it took Azeri everything she had to catch Take Charge Lady on the line. That was just 1 1/16. This is 1 1/4. Maybe Take Charge Lady's not as sharp now as she was then. Whatever. But still, it just goes to show you how powerful of a performance Wild Spirit put in here.
Then again, that might be a really nice race for Take Charge Lady out of this.
And Bailey just blew his stick.
Yeah,
he dropped his whip there at the 8th play as if he needed it.
Yeah,
right?
not that he needed it.
He was taunting the rest of the field, basically, is what he was doing there.
They went out in 24-2. They come home the final quarter in 24-2. That's rather nice in a 1 1/4 race.
And there you see the prices. Wild Spirit, surprisingly, we thought, as an odds-on favorite, but certainly the public knew what they were doing. The exacta, just $14.20 with Take Charge Lady.
And for Wild Spirit, her 8th win in 12 career starts, lifetime earnings now totaling over $674,000. For more on the Delaware Handicap and all the latest in horse racing news, including the actor Gary Stevens, log on to ESPN.com for more information. Jerry Bailey, yet another win aboard Wild Spirit here.
Simply Thoroughbred Championships. Powered by Dodge. This ESPN2 presentation of the Delaware Handicap is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. By Citgo, we know you. By Budweiser, the best things in life are the things that are true. Budweiser. By Long John Silver's new buckets of crunchy shrimp. Equibase.com, your official online source for racing information from entries to results and everything in between. Equibase.com is a service of Equibase Company, the thoroughbred industry's official database.
Wild Spirit has won the Del Cap. With more, let's go to Hank Goldberg.
All right, I'm with Jerry Bailey and Bobby Frankel. I'll start with Jerry. Jerry, the Take Charge Lady got out to that lead in those slow fractions. What are you doing with your horse?
Well, I knew by the time I went by the wire the first time they were going very slow, and as soon as I had an opportunity, I was going to go ahead and force the issue.
You rode her aggressively, didn't you?
Yeah, well, it's down the middle of the backside. Mandy's Gold kind of came out away from Take Charge Lady. I shot the gap, and it was pretty much all over then.
Bobby, I'm thinking back to last winter when we're talking about when Peace Rules ran in New Orleans. You say, wait till next week. And I guess maybe yesterday when the Empire Maker course was going to run, you got the same thing going here on the distaff side.
Well, this is a very good filly, and she's always showed it in the morning, and she's doing it in the afternoon now.
How good can she be, Bobby?
I think she can be as good as any horse in the country, any female in the country, you know, so we'll see.
You have so much, so much great stock, in fillies and mares. And I've heard that you've said that this one could be better than all of them.
Yeah, she trains really well, and the 2 races that she won have really been awesome.
All right, what about yesterday in comparing the 2 races?
Well, that was a 3-year-old filly, and this is a much more mature filly. Actually, this one's not even 4 years old yet either. She's a South American bred, and she's a very good filly, and hopefully she comes around and maybe be comparable to this one.
Where will you send her next?
Oh, obviously the Alabama trying to win the $2 million bonus.
And you'll see Birdsong up there.
Birdtown,
excuse me.
And Birdtown, and you'll see probably Santa Catarina. It'll be a tougher race.
All right, Bobby. We're getting to be a habit, and it's a good one for you. That's for sure.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for joining us. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Hank. Wild Spirit has now finished first or second in 11 straight races as she wins her 2nd straight since coming to Bobby Frankel's barn. Take Charge Lady going over $2 million in her career with the 2nd place finish. Shiny Chic, but Randy, the defending champ, Summer Colony, finishing 6th.
Very disappointing performance by Summer Colony, and one of the things that you heard Frankel mention about Wild Spirit that makes it interesting, she was the youngest horse in this race. Because she was bred in the Southern Hemisphere, her birth date was in July of 1999, so really she's chronologically now just making the transition in actual age from her 3-year-old to her 4-year-old season.
Listed as a 4-year-old technically, but just by about that much.
And one other thing that we didn't get a chance to touch on is that after her Shoe V handicap win, she came down with a case of hives that kept her out of training for a little bit, kept her out of the Ogden Phipps. She was coming into this race off a brief layoff, and basically today I think she gave the competition a case of hives.
And I think Bobby Frankel and Jerry Bailey do anytime they show up. Once again, they have pulled off a big win, a graded stakes victory. Both continue to have great seasons, and we really could see the making of a star here with Wild Spirit. A dominating performance today. You wonder down the line now, when does she meet Azeri? Will we see her and Azeri hook up? Will she go on to the Breeders' Cup? Many questions to come.
And he's got Sightseek, of course, as well. He's loaded in every division, as Hank just mentioned. When we went to see him at the Belmont Stakes when he had Empire Maker, he took us over to the stall of Wild Spirit and said, this could be the best filly in the country. That was before Sightseek, of course, came back and ran so well in the Ogden Phipps in her last start. Right now, it's tough to judge between those two fillies, but I think Azeri, it looks right now, is going to have a lot more competition this year in the Distaff division than she had a year ago.
Well, it was an impressive performance. Remember, next week we'll be there for opening weekend at Saratoga. We'll see Birdtown, the winner of the Kentucky Oaks, as well. Coming up next, it's Mopar Mile High Naira Nationals. That is coming up next on ESPN2. It is an impressive performance from Wild Spirit, as she's now 2 for 2 since coming to the Bobby Frankel barn. Ridden to victory today by Jerry Bailey. For Randy Moss and Hank Goldberg, I'm Kenny Rice. Thanks for joining us today for Racing from Delaware Park in the Delaware Handicap. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Bobby Frankel, Jerry Bailey, they just keep on winning.